All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, it's Anchorman here, back there video for you guys today with Multiverse Season 2. Damn it, I got fucking hiccups. Season 2, Episode 10. We should have a good show with you guys today. Fame is not able to be with us for this first show, but I wanted to let you guys know that we are going to do a show right after this. It's the Batman v Superman spoiler cast. So it should be pretty interesting. We got a good lineup of people coming in, everybody who's seen the movie. So it'll be great. Maybe if able to make that one, and we'll see what we can do there. But in the meantime, we got the show proper to do, and we have our cast today. I'll introduce the newcomer first, a new YouTuber known as Xbox Addict.
Hello everybody. I'm a Xbox Addict on Twitter. I collect video games and Xbox stuff, a lot of it, and make YouTube videos, all that good stuff. Vines to show off my collection.
But and you have a really extensive collection. That's what's amazing about it.
Yeah, I've been collecting for like 5 years. I collect Xbox One, GameCube. Well, I'm done with GameCube. Now I just collect Xbox One and Xbox 360 and the original Xbox. But I was collecting N64, GameCube, all that other stuff. But I finished those. Moved on to Xbox.
All right. And we also have our other guest for the evening. He's been on the show before, Broken Games HD.
What's going on, everybody? Broken Games HD on YouTube, Twitter. I think most of you probably know me, so yeah.
And I have the link to their channels in the description below as well. So let's get started. First, I want to talk about, I want to kind of ask you a couple questions, Xbox Addict. I wanted to ask you about what made you start collecting all this stuff. What's your method behind the madness?
Like 5 years ago, I was sitting there and my first system that I really loved was the Nintendo 64, and I was just like, I want a Nintendo 64, and I started looking on eBay, and I saw that you could get like brand new in the box ones, and I was like, man, it would be really cool to have a in the box N64. So I got one, and then I just kind of like got addicted to it and started getting more and more, and then I started learning about all these like special releases, like special controller releases or console releases or whatever. I started tracking those down, and it actually took like 4 years to complete that collection. And then GameCube, at the same time, GameCube was really cheap, so I kind of just went into that to grab it to sell for later. I'm not a big seller, but that is more of an investment, and it just kind of became an addiction, honestly. I just non-stop 24/7 was on forums or eBay or whatever. Wake up in the middle of the night, set alarms for auctions. It slowed down a lot now, but that's pretty much how it started, was N64.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's... Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead. No,
I was going to say something. You go ahead.
And then I moved into Xbox. I was just sitting there when Xbox One was about to launch. I was sitting there and I was like, this would be a great time to jump into, because I've always loved Xbox and stuff. I got, the original Xbox Day 1 release and everything. I've always been an Xbox fan, and I was like, this would be a cool time to jump on board to a new console. That way I can get it as it's releasing, and I don't have to hunt it down or whatever. Basically, the worst part I have to hunt down is special edition controllers for giveaways, or limited edition controllers for like, big giveaways. For like, Cheetos did a giveaway, or EA does a giveaway, stuff like that. Those are the hardest ones to track down.
Again, I'm sorry. I've still got the hiccups.
But I mean, it just kind of became an addiction. I just kind of, once you start learning all the special editions they come out with and how rare they are, like 1 of 10 or 1 of whatever, it just becomes like you just want it.
Mm-hmm. Well, what would you consider the hardest thing you've tried to get so far, or that you've actually gotten?
The hardest thing I've gotten is actually the blister packaging. I don't know if you know it by that name, but like the plastic packaging that they used to put controllers in. It's like breaking into Fort Knox, and you like cut open arteries trying to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called blister packaging, and the watermelon controller for the N64 is actually took me 4 years to get it, and I'm one of 3 people that have it that I know of. And that
Oh,
that
wow.
yeah, so that was like day and night searching for about 4 years. And then someone popped it up on eBay for like $150 buyout, which you could probably sell that controller. Like I could pop it up for 800 and it would sell in a heartbeat. And I saw it first and got it, snatched it up, and it's in perfect condition. Yeah, it was like my child was being born. Equal happiness.
Wow. That sounds like awesome, man. I used to collect comics for the longest time, and I understand the addiction of trying to find the right issue, trying to find the right condition.
I did comics for
It's
a
so
little
much
bit.
fun.
I did comics for a little bit. Yeah, comics are. I have a couple signed things for comics.
Mhm.
I have a bunch of statues for comics too,
Yeah,
because
that's
I'm a
kind of what
Batman
I'm
freak.
into now. But yeah,
Comics are fun, but they're so hard to get a good grade, you know? Or like all the good grades are found, and eBay
hmm
kind of ruined comics.
yeah. Okay, everybody got into comics, and it's just weird.
Yeah, eBay
What
movies.
about you? Do you collect anything? I guess not. All right. Maybe he's gone.
What was that?
I said, do you collect anything?
Oh, sorry. I didn't even hear you talking to me. I thought you were asking him another question. No, I'm like the anti-collector actually. If I see,
Uh-oh.
if I have, if I have anything in my possession that I'm not using, I'm trying to find a way to sell it. I looked around, I look around my room and it's like I'm always trying to find something useless that I don't need to get rid of it. Always, like I'm always on it about it. There's been some really cool stuff that some companies have given me just to review, and I sold everything. Like really cool devices, like a monitor a portable monitor that games. GAEMS sent me, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool." And I had it for a few months, and I realized I'm never going to use it. Sold that, and gaming glasses just recently sold that. I sell everything I don't use. I'm anti-collector.
Yeah.
I don't have doubles of anything. If I get a double of anything, it's gone. I either sell it or trade it for something else. I prefer trading, but as far as like, I'm picky about collecting. Like, I'm not a hoarder. I don't collect everything, that's for sure.
Even I had the Uncharted for Libertalia collector's edition, the $150 one, pre-ordered, and those pre-orders went fast. Like there was only a few of them, and I'm sure it would have been rare if I got it. And I had it pre-ordered in Amazon since it came out. And just recently, I was looking at it, and I'm like, why am I buying this? Like, why am I really buying this collector's edition? I just canceled it. I'm like, it's pointless.
hmm
They kind of ruined collector's editions because now every game has a collector's edition. So is it a collector's edition? Like, and there's like 50,000 of them, 500,000 of them, whatever. How many Pip-Boy editions were there? I mean,
Oh yeah, I remember actually I got the pre-order for the Pip-Boy edition. I did the same thing you did, BG. I was like, well, am I ever gonna use this? Am I ever gonna do anything with it? Well, no. I was like, well, I don't need it then.
yeah, I'm not a big game collector. I was collecting N64s. I was trying to get a complete sealed collection. I have like 120 sealed games. There's 296. But then I quit because it just got retardedly expensive. N64 prices shot up huge in the past couple of years. I guess probably because everyone my age is now, they're in their 30s. They have a little bit of money. They want that system back, so the prices kind of go up. That's usually what tends to happen. But games aren't my thing at all.
Yeah, I understand that. But I normally go through cycles. I don't really collect games. I'll go. I bought a bunch of comics, like I said. But like as soon I got to the point in 2013 where I was like, you know what? I'm done collecting comics, and I just sold all of them. And now I'm starting collecting not action figures, more like statues and figurines.
Yeah, I did a lot of the sideshow statues. Like I have the Hulk, Gladiator Hulk, Scar, Galactus,
hmm
a bunch of that stuff. But even those, like, those things are huge, man. I had I had the life-size Han Solo and Carbonite pre-ordered.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I had gone like halfway through the payments, and then I was just like, why am I getting this? Like, what am I doing right now? And I just kind of, that's when my whole statue thing kind of stopped.
Hmm.
Statues are expensive. That's an expensive habit right there. You think consoles are?
Yeah. I just found a really good one for like $50. I got a Shazam statue.
Nice.
So I'm really happy. I don't like them being like too big. I like them like when they're like maybe a foot tall max. Like
Oh, okay.
Something you can put on your shelf. Like, yep, I got it. Good to go. But anyway, moving on to another topic. We had a couple things that came out. I'm going through the feed right now. So DC has announced they're doing a Lego Batman movie.
Movie?
And I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I saw the preview. And I never actually seen any of the Lego movies, but they played the preview for that. Before Batman v Superman, it looked funny. I was like, I could watch this. It was actually cool.
So I never
I'll
seen
take
a
my
Lego
niece.
movie.
I would take my niece to see it or something like that, or
Yeah, I never seen a Lego movie, but I played the Lego Batman game, and it was pretty funny. So I'm sure they could be funny. I'll take my kid to see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I saw the Lego movie, and it was interesting as a one-time thing, but I'm not sure about a Lego Batman movie. It's kind of specific. So, I don't know.
From what I heard, they're gonna have a Nightwing, maybe a Robin or Batgirl in there too. So it's gonna be a pretty big cast.
Yeah. All right. Just kind of moving right along. Let's see what's going on. Like this is the one thing I really hate about this time of year because we get to the point where we don't have really any new information coming out, and like all the developers get to this wait till E3 moment, and they're like, nope, nope, we're not talking about it. And you have all these games coming out in like April or maybe like April or May, and you just kind of wait for that, and just there's not much going on, and any news that does come out is always bad.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been nothing but negative and cancellations and delays.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
Although Halo Wars just went backward compatible today. A lot of people wanted that.
Yeah, that did come out. Yeah, there were two other games that came out with it. What were they?
It was Halo Wars, Soul Calibur 2, and
I can't remember the other one.
King of Fighters.
All right, what was it? I had something interesting that was lined up here, but all right. So we got one thing that is coming out. Is it next week or the week after that? But it's Quantum Break, and we've been seeing a lot of stuff coming out about that game, and it looks kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not like I try not to watch when it comes to games. I try not to read any like pre-reviews or watch too much gameplay. Once I know what the gameplay is like, I'm like, all right, I don't need to see anymore. So I'm excited for the game for some different reasons, mostly along the lines of I want to see how time manipulation is done. I kind of want to see I like the visual style of the game, and I mean I want to see how it all plays out in the long run. But what do you guys think about this game? Are you excited for it, or are you sleep on it, or what?
Definitely looking forward to it. I think the visuals are definitely great. I'm gonna get it on PC, so guessing those demands on the visual side were pretty hefty with this games for Windows. With this 16 gigs of RAM and I think like a 780. Even though I have a 980, like it's never a good thing when the recommended specs are pretty high. You never like that, even if you have it. I'm a little bit worried about that, and also I'm a little bit worried about the recording side of it because you can't use third-party devices to record some of these Windows 10 games. It's like, why? I can't understand that. So it's like you can only use the built-in recorder on Windows 10, which is dumb. It's okay, but I don't think it records in 60 frames. I could be mistaken on that, but I don't think it records in 60 frames, and the quality is not great. So I'm a little bit worried about that. But as far as the game, visuals look great. I'm not sure how groundbreaking the story is going to be. I don't have any confidence that the story is going to be like anything magnificent. I think it's just going to be serviceable. Remedy, I don't think in my opinion, Remedy has never made a bad game. So that's not what whenever Remedy is making a game, I never worry about is it going to be good or not. It's always been good. I don't think they've made anything like fantastic, but it's always been a good game.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of like Avalanche, where it's kind of like it's solid. It's always solid 7 material, but it's like I played Alan Wake and I played a little bit of Max Payne, and I was like, yeah, these are good games. I wasn't like blown away about it, like, oh my gosh, this is the best game in all of existence. But I mean, they were good games. They just weren't entirely my field, except for Alan Wake, which I grew up on watching Twilight Zone, and it was fun to watch or play a game that was pretty much Twilight Zone.
Yeah, those games I'm always just kind of like, all right, this is good, this is fun. Like Alan Wake, it was good, it was fun. But with Quantum Break, I'm hoping for Max Payne time mechanics. Really, I miss that so much. Just diving down a hallway in slow mo and blasting people. That was so much fun.
And I was actually going to say that I don't feel like the time manipulation is going to be that far off from what Remedy is used to, because it is just bullet time, but they're actually using a concept, right? Bullet time wasn't a thing that was actually happening in the game, right? As a part of the story, right? It was just something that you experienced as the player to increase your experience. So I think it's going to be the same or similar in how it's used, and they're going to have to they're going to give you different ways to manipulate the time other than just diving. That's the different thing. So
I saw one of them like you could freeze time and walk up and just take weapons out of people's hands and stuff like that. I'm with you on the story. I don't really think the story is going to be all that great. I think it's just going to be a standard, kind of go save your brother type of story. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. You're trying to save your brother or something.
I mean, there's a guy on Twitter. I just followed him today. He made a pretty bold statement. He's been playing it. He has a review copy apparently. He said Quantum Break to him is the Xbox's Last of Us, and I thought that's what he said.
That's a bold statement.
It's a very bold statement, and even though I'm one of the people who thinks The Last of Us is overrated, and when I say that, people lose their mind. When I say overrated, like if I think a game is a 9 and everybody else thinks it's a 10, that means I think it's overrated. That doesn't mean I think it's like way lower. That means I just think it's lower. I think it's a 9.
It's like The Dark Knight. Like The Dark Knight was a really good movie, but it's overrated.
Yeah, like I think it's a 9 or a 9.5. Everybody else thinks it's perfect. I don't think it's perfect. That's all overrated.
I think the gameplay could have been better, but story-wise and all that, it's a 10 for me for sure.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I think like him saying it's going to be the Xbox One's Last of Us is only because of the story part of it, right? Like one thing I give like Naughty Dog and like I think more Sony games is they know how to like really make a story-driven game. I feel like this game is going to be more about the action.
I don't think anyone beats Naughty Dog at story-driven games.
Yeah, I don't think like this game is really going to tug on any heartstrings and like have a real deep story and have emotions and those type of moments. No, not like that.
I think the most we're going to get out of it is like an Uncharted, like this is quick and fun and, like, not like a deep story.
Yeah, if he would have said Xbox's Uncharted, well, Tomb Raider could have been Xbox Uncharted if it was exclusive, but you know what I mean, like in an action game, then I feel like that would be more accurate. It's going to be a great action game. That's what I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they got some really top-notch actors in there. I was honestly very surprised at the guys who they pulled in for this.
That's what
honestly, with Xbox in general, I've been very surprised this generation with the people they pulled in. Like, they got Mike Coulter, who's going to be Luke Cage. They got Liam McIntyre, who's Spartacus. They got Iceman. They got Littlefinger from
I kind of like that less, to be honest, when they model characters after actors.
I actually don't
and
like
bring in big name actors. I'd rather have a nobody.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just looking, and I'm looking. When I watch Quantum Break gameplay, I see Lost, the guy from Lost. That's all I see. I don't see anything else.
Yeah, I'm actually like that too. I don't like when they use like well-known actors. I think it takes me out of the game.
Definitely.
Of like this independent new character. Because every time now I look at the game, I'm seeing Iceman, or I'm seeing what's the dude with the accent, Australian accent or something? That was from Lost. Yeah, that you said. Every time I'm gonna see
Pippin
Iceman
or whatever
and the dude from Lost.
from
And
Lord
it's
of the
gonna be
Rings.
hard. Yeah, and it's gonna be hard for me to unsee that. It's like, okay, I'm playing as Iceman with a gun. Like, nah, I'd rather. And it kind of, even though it's not Iceman, right? You want to see this new, brand new character you've never seen before, and see how his character is built, right?
At least don't
Build
model
up.
the character.
Yeah,
after the
I
actor.
agree with like maybe not modeling it after them, but like getting these voice actors, I mean that's kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah. Voice act. If you got his voice only, I would. That's great. That's fine with me. But his whole,
it is one thing when you
whole
model
face.
it, you look exactly like the dude. It's like,
Yeah, I just don't like it.
I don't know. If they break out the Iceman powers in Quantum Break, I'm sold. I'm like, there we go. Freezing time for real. So I don't know. I would love that, but that's also just me.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that's going on in the news? Anything else you guys want to talk about as I scroll through?
I haven't even checked out news today.
I haven't. I mean, I have, but there's just nothing.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, they did announce April's Games of Gold, which is actually kind of surprising because two of the games I've never even
Great
played
lineup.
before. It's Wolf Among Us and Dead Space 1.
You never played Dead Space?
I played Dead Space 2, I just didn't get around to 1.
It's intense. It's just as good. It's the same thing basically.
Yeah. I heard it was a bit more survival horror than Dead
It's a little harder, I'd say. Less ammo.
I always said Dead Space 2 is the perfect medium, the perfect middle ground. Because Dead Space 3, they went way too far with the whole action thing. Dead Space 1 was a little bit. I don't think you can say it was too much. I don't think too much survival horror is a bad thing, but it could have had a little bit more.
You were
sequences.
constantly scrounging for bullets in the first one. Like you were always on your last bullet too. But there wasn't enough action in between the fights. There was nothing in between fights.
So that's why I feel like Dead Space 2 is definitely one of the best games from last generation.
Sunset Overdrive's on there too, and if you haven't played that game's just fun. Like, it doesn't take itself
I like playing the co-op thing. My only regret about Sunset Overdrive is I wanted the campaign to be co-op. Like that would have been so much more fun to me. I like doing the co-op thing, the weird horde mode kind of party mode thing. That was fun. I just didn't. I wish there was a co-op thing.
Yeah, aside from the rounds. Yeah. That game was just straight fun though. I don't get why it gets ragged on, and I was like, have you played it? It's nonsense fun. It doesn't take it so seriously or anything. There's nothing. It's Tony Hawk where you shoot at stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Scrolling through.
The Turok remakes you were saying earlier.
Yeah. Most of my timeline's Batman vs Superman box office stuff.
Didn't you say they were remastering Turok?
Yeah, they are remastering Turok 1 and 2. I know Mr. Inferno is going crazy right now. He's this guy on Twitter I talked to. He loves Turok. He was just so happy. He's like, yes, finally.
That's the first game I got on Nintendo 64, man. We just shoot people in the throat, making them choke. That was the craziest game.
Yeah, it was cool.
Or you shoot them with the exploding arrows up in the air, and then you just keep juggling them.
Yeah.
Have you tried to go back and play it though? It's damn near impossible. N64 is not an easy system to go back to.
Not at all. With the aiming and it's
brutal.
Yeah. It's rough sometimes going backwards sometimes. Like I noticed this a lot. A lot of the games for 360 in particular, especially with the more games coming to backwards compatibility, which we just had Halo Wars and Soul Calibur. Sometimes it's actually hard to go back and play those. Sometimes it's specifically with the games that were focusing on graphics, where it was like, oh, look how well we've done the graphics. The graphics are real cutting edge, and that was what people bought the game for predominantly. They do not hold up very well over time.
No. See, that's one of my biggest complaints with games now is everybody's worried about 720p, 1080p, 30 frames, 60 frames. How about a game that's good? Like what? Now everybody's talking about graphics and who has the most powerful system. It's like, I have the PlayStation is the most powerful. All right, what games are you playing on it? Because there ain't anything out right now, and none of it needs your powerful system. I just feel like everybody's worried about graphics instead of content. You get these 4-hour games, and that people say it's acceptable to them. Like, oh, this 4-hour game has great graphics, though. And it's like, you paid $60 for that.
Graphics are, at least for me, they're kind of like the icing, the toppings on the cake. Like that's what makes it look presentable to the general public. But yeah. I really wish we did focus a little more on content, because otherwise you get games kind of like Just Cause 3. Just Cause 3 looks like it's a really good looking game. It has a core gameplay, but the content, there's a lot of it, but it's not particularly good.
I really like Just Cause and Just Cause 2, and I got Just Cause 3, and I was like, this is just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going place to place, blowing stuff up, which is all Just Cause was, but it was fun before. And they somehow made it, they stripped the fun out of it and made it, go from point A to point B, blow it up. Go from point A to point B, blow it up. Rinse, repeat.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. There was a lot of content that you had no real motivation to do. That makes any sense.
Exactly. There was no motivation. That's what was missing. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not asking for a real big, deep, long monologue about why we're doing this. But if there's an actual legitimate reward for doing something, people will do it. If there's some sort of significance behind it in terms of moving the plot forward, people will play it.
Otherwise, the Far Cry series, they just say, here's a new weapon if you do this, and what do? You go do it, and everybody likes the Far Cry series because you get upgrades as you go do it, but you're doing the same thing. You're going and taking over bases and trying to be stealthy, Yep. But they threw in that piece of candy at the end. Ooh, piece of candy.
I don't know. A lot of the stuff with Just Cause was really messed up. It's fun to play every once in a while just to zone out, but they had a really good traversal system, though. That was one of the most fun things to play in that game.
Yeah, I actually don't find Just Cause fun. Doing random crazy stuff. I mean, the randomness is...
That's the fun part, is the randomness.
The freedom is good. I think that type of game definitely needs to exist, but,
Yeah. It's like Battlefield versus Call of Duty. They're kind of the same thing, but the craziest stuff happens in Battlefield.
Yep. And at least with Call of Duty and Battlefield, it's kind of like a microcosm versus a macrocosm, where it's Battlefield, it's a lot of situational stuff. Like, we had these two jets colliding on one another and a helicopter underneath, and I just jumped out of my jet and killed the other guy with my jet, slamming into him, landed on the helicopter, hijacked that, and slammed that into a tank. It's a lot of situational stuff. Call of Duty, it's like, look how weird I could bounce off my throwing knife off of 4 different angles and hit somebody.
Watch me jump and spin and shoot you.
Yeah.
I never understood the trick shotting. I just feel like all games right now are the same to me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. At least Ubisoft games.
Even Fallout, man. Fallout. I like Fallout. Fallout 4 didn't even play it. It just felt like a bad first-person shooter. It's like they got rid of all the RPG elements. It did, man. It felt like a bad first-person shooter. It was not as good as the third one. It wasn't as RPG-ish. It was more first-person shooter.
The Fallout 3 was more RPG because they were moving, at least that one, they were moving over from the original top-down RPG deal. They were moving from that to moving to a first-person perspective, trying to make it a little more shootery. Fallout 4 is majoritively a
I
shooter.
like that we both skip over New Vegas. Everybody's like, forget
No, I
that
like
one ever happened.
It's still my
Oh,
favorite.
you did like it?
Yeah, I like New Vegas a lot.
I
It's
didn't
still
like
my
that one.
favorite. It was a little more. It was a tougher RPG than Fallout 3. Like when you made a choice, there were like serious repercussions.
Yeah, there were
And if
consequences.
you
to
chose
everything.
to align yourself with one faction, the other ones hated you.
Yeah.
Like that was great. I loved that about that game. I played that game at least 3 playthroughs. At least that many. Fallout 4 is more of a, I call it the Skyrim of the series.
Yes.
More casual than anything else, but it's a solid casual game though. It's a shooter. I like the mechanics of it. They still have VATS in it, and it's. I will say the new DLC, which did come out, which is Automatron, when that came out, it really kind of reinvigorated VATS in particular because you're going up against modded robots now, and taking out certain limbs now becomes a priority. Now you need to do that. Because sometimes I ran into one Assaultron, like one arm was like this drill, and the other one was this like a Spitfire cannon. And so like I was trying to kite him for a while, so I focused on the Spitfire cannon, and I had to use VATS to take it out. And then eventually I started kind of like staying out of his drill range, even though he would charge at you. So it was, I think they reinvigorated VATS on that front.
I haven't played the DLC yet.
For $10, it's a great DLC. It's just a lot of it messes. If you don't have a good intelligence build, it's just don't bother. Just don't bother if you don't have a good intelligence build.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really rewarded those guys. So what I want to do is I have 2 characters I'm dicking around with them, but one of them is kind of like even across the board character. The other one was just my initial charisma build. And I'm going to play the whole thing with all the DLC. I'm going to play with all the DLC as they come out with my middle-of-the-road character. And as soon as all the DLC's out, I'm going to create a brand new character and see how it's changed the base game.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Probably change it.
I'll build a high science build. I'll have my Lex Luthor character.
Plus all the little additions they're adding anyway.
Yeah, I know they have
patches.
this Automatron which came out, Wasteland Workbench or something like that, which comes out next month. And that one's a little more settlement based and building gladiatorial arenas and such. And there's going to be the real expansion, which is Far Harbor, where you're going off to Maine. And then there's more DLC after that, which they haven't announced yet. Which I'm pretty sure at E3 they'll give you some idea of.
Yeah, I'll try to get it in Fallout 4, but I think it's just Western, RPGs. Just ain't my thing. I think like the Japanese ones are just way more appealing to me.
Yeah,
I hate RPGs.
That style is kind of gone though. That classic.
They're still there. They're
RPG.
just not major. They're like there's 2 big ones releasing this month. They're just not like Knights of Azure and Star Ocean. They're just not
These aren't marketed.
Yeah, they're not marketed like they used to be. But I hate RPGs that have this optional, but it's like optional but also mandatory text chat. Like I hate it. I can't stand it.
What do you mean by that?
It's like, okay, in Fallout you have these speech options where you don't necessarily have to, but if you don't, you're missing out on a huge part of the game.
Oh yeah.
Right? So it's like, okay, you don't have to do it, but I don't want to do it because these conversations are like boring me.
Yeah, I get really bored going through. I don't even talk to people just because I get bored.
See,
I love that.
I feel like, okay, if I just skip through it and play the game, I feel like I'm missing out on something. But it's, so
But
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot of
just not.
at least with Fallout, you're dealing with a lot of like really zany, weird people. So at least you're like kind of interested in how they have to say.
Yeah, like it's different. Like in a game Jesus, how was it leaving my mind? It's on the right on tip of my tongue with the B, Gearbox. Uh, I know what I'm talking
Borderlands?
about. Yeah, Borderlands. Like with Borderlands, I enjoy meeting new characters and hearing everything they have to say because they're crazy, they're funny, they're
Yeah.
entertaining. So
And it's done
that's fun to me.
quickly. It's done quickly, like through like a quick conversation, not like a make all these choices and read this really long conversation. And my problem with
Yeah.
the Fallout 4 choices were you would pick one choice and it was nothing like what you thought your guy was gonna say.
Oh, that is a problem. Though.
Like I would be like,
There's
oh, I'm gonna say
definitely-
this, and he would say something else, and I'd be like, that's not even close to what I thought he was gonna say.
Oh yeah, same problem with Witcher 3. Like you thought, like, oh well,
Not
I'm
at all.
saying with this tone of voice it'll mean this one thing, and then Geralt says in this entirely different and implied.
Yeah.
You're like, no, please.
Yeah, that trick text. I'm like, it's like they do that purposely to just like.
I think so too. I thought that too. They do it purposely.
That's
Yeah,
why I pick
it's-
sarcasm every time.
Yeah, but it's like, nah, that's not what would happen in real life. Like nobody would talk like that, really. So it's reverse psychology. Okay, it's like, okay, you think this is calm and this would like get what you want, but maybe the angry answer will actually get what you want. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
It is almost like instead of being a natural conversation, they're making you play like this Russian roulette, guess which one's right kind of game instead of a natural flow of a conversation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that does need to be refined. Ever since they went to the whole Mass Effect style of, at least with Fallout, ever since they went to the whole Mass Effect style, they need to refine that. They need to figure out how to make that work. But other than that, I mean, I like trying to guess people out because it requires a lot of reading into their personalities to understand. And also, at least with the prior Fallout games, they allowed you to use your different abilities to your benefit. Like with Fallout New Vegas, it would be like, okay, speaking to the science character, maybe if I try to use like my 70% science speak, I'll do a little better than otherwise. So I mean, it's sometimes I tell you, I don't know. But other than that, I also want to remind everybody who's watching the show right now, we are going to be doing a Batman vs. Superman spoiler cast at 10 o'clock tonight. So right after this, just stay tuned. I'll be putting up the link to that a little bit later. It should be pretty damn fun because we're going to spoil the absolute shit out of that movie. We got a couple people coming in, DC and Marvel fans alike, to discuss. But anything else you guys want to talk about tonight before we break out? Set up for the other one.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's just this week has been really hard. I thought about canceling this episode because it was just there's just not much to talk about. I don't know. It's really rough sometimes. So, but anyway, guys, we'll wrap it up here. Just real quick for everybody watching it again. We're gonna go through everybody in the chat. We had Broken Games HD here.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. Y'all know where to find me. Broken Games HD. YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. Weapon Wheel Podcast. Yeah.
All right, and we also had Xbox Addict here.
Oh, thanks for listening, guys. You can catch me on Twitter at Xbox_Addict with 2 T's, and then you can link everything else is there. YouTube, Vine, all that stuff.
Yep. All right. Also remember, everybody, stay tuned. We were gonna split up this podcast into 2 parts. One for the spoilers, just so like a lot of people click on this, click on the video and they just listen to it in the background, and I didn't want to like launch into spoilers all of a sudden and ruin everything for everybody. So we're doing 2 separate things. But yeah, we're gonna exit out here, and remember, this is the Greatest Podcast on Mondays. This is the Multiverse Podcast, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.